Hey Sagittarius, happy Lunar New Year. Yes, it is a new lunar cycle and we are in a new moon. So I'm recording this the day after New Year, but you know, we're in that 15-day period of celebrations for those of you who celebrate Chinese New Year. It is the year of the snake. Sorry, this reading is from the 1st of February to the 9th. I'm doing it for the 9 days just because it starts on a Saturday. So we will get into the cycle of doing our weeklies from there. Where can I put my cards? I'm a little bit out of sorts this morning of where to place things because I'm on a roll with the recording. So anyway, let's jump in. I'm using the Queen of the Moon Oracle and also the Moonology Oracle because it seemed fitting being moon themed. So let's start. Extremes. Okay, so this makes sense. We're in this heightened energy right now. This card represents you and the energy that you are in, and it's extremes. So Sagittarius, the energy is hitting you hard and you may be feeling heightened emotions. This card is the hot moon. It can be horny, sexual energy, but this can also be in so many ways, which means it's a good time for fertility, for growing things, for starting things. But it may be that you're feeling things in extreme. So be wary of the emotions that you're putting out there and how that's making you react to things as well. Because when we're in heightened extremes, we are very reactive, defensive, instead of productive and, using it in a constructive way. So be aware of that. But also be aware that, this is the energy you're in. So it may explain a lot of why you are feeling what you're feeling. And there are a lot of reasons too. So obviously there's a lot going on in social media at the moment, in the media and worldwide and in different parts of the world that can really shake us up and make us feel all of the feels. The energy in the planetary alignments is really amplifying that for us. So understanding that, we need to, keep our cool, but allow it to drive you in a way that is constructive. This will be bringing up a lot of things into your awareness. Now I say this because next it wants you to pay attention that you're in a period of self-reflection. Now this makes sense that it's a really great time for us to be thinking of the self. Why? Now, a number of reasons. So if we look at the collective energy, at the moment there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of heated. That's what we're telling the collective universe, the energy, the gods, the God, whatever your spiritual system belief is, your understanding, that is what we're feeding the collective energy into. So when we're in a state of fear, in fight and flight, in anger, that's what we're saying is the energy that we want to be in. We're manifesting that, right? So we need to calm ourselves down and try and do what's in the best for us on an individual basis. Because if we're taking care of the self, we're taking care of the collective, our families, our loved ones. An example of this, a mom who is irrational, impulsive, chaotic, is not being a good mom, thinking of the needs of her children, even if her decisions are in alignment with wanting that. She's not in a space to make the best decisions. A leader is not in a good space to make decisions when they are emotionally irrational. Taking care of herself, where she gets herself out of fight and flight, she calms herself down, she gets herself into a place where she's making the right decisions for the people that need it. So again, you are the mother of your world, whether you're male or female. You're the father of your world, you're the mother and the father, because you are both masculine and feminine. We want that to be in balance. Now with the self-reflection, definitely heightened emotions. I'm getting a lot of water. A lot of water is in this. Usually when I read this card, it does bring that up, but it hasn't for other people that have had it. But for you, Sagittarius, I'm getting the waterworks. So you may be feeling very emotional in terms of just emotionally unstable and crying and feeling the overbearing weight, overwhelmed, overstimulated. Like, this is what's coming through me. I'm just getting over, which means you're just feeling a lot of stuff, which is perfectly okay. And obviously that's how you channel things, right? But you have to work with your energy and understand yourself. So the self-reflection has you feel, why are you feeling this way? Is there something you can do? That's where you're in control, in the things that you can do. If it's the actions of others that are making you feel overwhelmed, if it's the outside world that's making you feel overwhelmed, shut it off in terms of don't go on social media, don't be watching the TikToks or the Reels, all the shorts, that are sharing real life news that's making you feel overwhelmed, because you need to just take a minute. It's not going to hurt you to take a minute. It's hurting you to not take a minute. If it is family, again, just chill away from them where you can. Or again, shielding yourself so that you're protecting the energy. It's making the decisions that you can for yourself. And I always have to remind my daughter of this, and she is a Sagittarius, to focus on the current and the now, so what you can change. She will often go to bed, come out. She's one of those people that overthinks at bedtime. She'll come out, say a million different things. Oh, did you do this? Oh, is the cats okay? Have you fed the cats? Like, yes, Autumn, I'm an adult. I did these things. They're my responsibility. You don't need to remember those things. And like, never ever she had those responsibilities, but she takes it upon herself to try and remind me of mine, right? Because she's overthinking and she's overwhelmed. So I try and remind her to be in the present. Think of the your things and the you things, because that's my job. If I forget to do those things, that's my responsibility, and I have to deal with the consequences. You don't have to deal with the consequences of me forgetting these things, because you're not an adult and it's not your thing to take on, okay? It's my thing to take on. And this Sagittarius, like, I feel like being your mom and telling you, just take on what is yours and deal with what you can in this present moment. And sometimes that's just making sure you get up out of bed, putting your shoes on ready for work, getting your doing your makeup, brushing your teeth, getting dressed. Do the things you're in control of first, of what you need to do, and that will get you in this calmer sense of self, of understanding, of you to be able to tackle the harder things, which again, as an adult you have, and they are your responsibilities, which is fully understandable. But taking a step back for a moment to just do the next thing, even as a mom, I feel like I'm a single mom, and so all responsibility of absolutely every adult thing is my job, and it's overwhelming. And so I even have to tell myself sometimes, all right, do what you need to do first, right? So the first thing you need to do is get you ready, get the kids ready, do your makeup, feed everyone, make sure everyone's fed, yell the things that need yelling, like get your shoes on, do this. They're things that you need to do in the now. The other things that you can't do in this moment because it's a future thing, or it's just something daunting that's hanging over your head, there's nothing you do in this immediate moment, right? Sorry if that banged. So it's about focusing on the now can really help you get to the next. I feel like that's essential to say to you as a mother, as your little guidance officer right here, to say to help, that may be helpful for you. But this card, self-reflection, really does mean to kind of reflect on the things that you're doing. Like, again, as I'm speaking, I'm just getting, it's like really big in my mind that's coming through, like overwhelmed. So again, just stop. I don't want you to go within and assess yourself or anything like that, which does often come with this self-reflection card. I need you to, again, just be aware of the self. So have that self-awareness to do what you need to do to get yourself into this state of peace. Surrendering to it. That's really good card to have next. Again, it is telling you to stop being forceful, stop trying to force things, stop doing things again beyond your control, and surrender to it. Everything will be okay. This card is basically saying that with this surrender. It's trust in the energy, trust in the process. I do again want to say, if you're feeling all the anger, the frustration, all the fear, that's what they want. That's literally you're feeding it, right? Imagine the thing that you fear and you're scared of, or whatever, the things that you're fearing are happening to society or to you, to the minorities, to anybody. Imagine that as an actual thing, a monster, right? And the only way that this monster grows is that if it gets what it wants, right? It grows because it feeds on fear, it feeds on anger, it feeds on distraction. You're feeding it. So how do we stop feeding it so it grows? We stop giving it attention. We live authentically in ourselves. Sometimes it takes as much as, and anyone knows this, like in toxic friendships, it takes yourself away from the equation, makes it go away. And if collectively that's what everyone did, and just stayed living in their own lane, making the choices that they can make, because being angry and frustrated at something's not helping. It's not doing anything. Yes, there is a time and a place for it. I'm not saying we should not be angry at this. It's that we shouldn't be allowing the anger and the frustration to be the noise. It needs to be from a place of healing, not in a fight and flight stressor response. We're not headless chicken here. So if you are acting like a headless chicken, surrender to it. Know that everything is going to be okay. We are a collective. We all have each other's backs. Love in your communities. Love in your families, raise your children the right way, and trust that that is enough, because baby steps lead us to the big steps. Once we are strong enough, it's like working out. When you start with doing minimal exercise and you actually start, it's hard at first. Then it gets easier and you do more. You walk further. Then you start running, and then you start running further. Then you can do marathons and pacing yourself, because you're building something up. It starts with the baby steps. Okay? Protection is next. So you definitely need to be protecting your energy. This card is like you are protected, but again, protect your energy shield. I feel like you are really, really, really in this space where you need to take care of your vulnerable self. It definitely gives me fetal position and needing to be nurtured. So again, this is something that you can offer yourself. Lean on people who are there for you, but also do things that make you feel safe. Buy blankets, I'm a Taurus, so buy those comfort things, get the luxuries, and just make your home feel safe, because when you feel safe and secure in life, that's when everything else gets easier. So again, focusing on the things that's going to bring security to you, but again, shielding, not letting outside influence. I do feel like a break from news and gossip, anything like that. It may not be news as well. It can, like, as I said, gossip, it's like could just be outside influences affecting you. Take a break from it, move away from it. You don't have to be always in everybody's space all the time, and people don't need to be in your space all the time. Just saying. The unexpected. So again, I feel like because you're focusing so much in an area, it's like you're going to understand that it's going to be unexpected, the outcome. So all of the overthinking that you're doing is probably fears. What are fears? The things that we make up in order to have this false sense of protection. Like we think it's protecting ourselves because it's like that's what our brains are naturally designed to do, is to think of the negative so that we can prevent ourselves from making mistakes. But the thing is, the way that anxiety in society is these days, we make up fears that are probably not ever going to come true and not probabilities. Yes, they're possibilities, but because we are that intelligent really as a society now, I know sometimes that seems a bit questionable, but as a society, we're pretty intelligent beings. We can think of so many possibilities. Yeah? But are they probabilities? No. They're literally things you've made up. And so that means when something actually happens that's good, it's often unexpected, because we've spent all that time thinking of all the bad stuff that's gonna happen, that we kind of go with the least bad thing and think that's going to be the outcome. But I feel like everything is going to be good, and like good outcomes are coming from this, okay? So whatever is going on in your life, expect the unexpected, but also I kind of don't want you to expect anything. I want you to just focus on the now, on the present and the current. Beauty. Beauty is all around us. Now, I am one of these really weird people, even as a teenager. Like a lot of my belief system that's really built into me so solidly that I didn't even know that I believed. It was just things I said when I was a teenager, because I mean, when you're a teenager, you just say stuff, right? you just say things. Like I said, I hate people, but I love people. And the reality of it, I mean, back then I wasn't as introverted because I didn't realize how overwhelmed people make me and things. Obviously, that is what I was telling myself, but I didn't know that's what I was telling myself. So then I'm like, it's true. I can't be around a lot of people. I really don't understand. I mean, I understand where people are coming from, but I don't understand a lot of people's drives and beliefs and things, because it's like it either doesn't make sense logically, even when you try to really force it to make sense, it doesn't. So it's like, how can you believe that? How can you live like that when it makes absolutely no sense to human nature? But people don't live like that, right? But I love people. We're beautiful. In every single unique person, there's beauty there. Even in the ones that are hateful, like sometimes I feel like there's love in evil, because it's just, there's, like they say, there's that fine line between love and hate. If something is so strong in hate, it cares that much, it's like obsession, and it can be love. It's not love in the same sense of where it is harmonious. It's the opposite end of the scale, but it's so close because they almost look the same. However, one of them comes from a space of freedom and one of them comes from a space of restriction. I hope what I'm saying is making sense, because I feel like I'm going a bit of a tangent. But with this card of beauty, it's like seeing the beauty in every moment. And I do want to remind people that if we look through history and through I'm not getting tongue tied, through through humanity, thank you, through the things, I can't say through today, let me have a drink, the things that we're going through in life, there's always beauty in it, because something good comes from the bad. That's what I'm trying to say, and I really can't get my words out. Hang on a second. So sometimes the bad things have to happen in order for us to get the result that we desire as a community. We need change. We need something that will shift it. Change comes from an explosion. You know, like there's a building there, it's going to be knocked down to create something that's beautiful in its place. Maybe rebuild it into a nature reserve or something. You know what I mean? So sometimes there is beauty in destruction. Darkness. You're definitely feeling these emotions. Now, I want to kind of say this in a way that's like, from darkness comes peace. So that's exactly why I was just saying what I was meaning. It's like sometimes for me, I prefer nighttime, and it's because there's less noise. Nobody has expectations from you. Nobody wants you. No one will be trying to call you. You kind of can just be in your own natural state. Like I said, I'm an introvert, so nighttime is just peaceful for me. Like a lot of people fear the dark and fear nighttime, and that's just never been something for me. I'm not saying that there's not things that I don't fear about nighttime or darkness, because I'm a normal human, but in general, like, it's my favorite time. It's just so peaceful, etc., and I'm a nighttime person. And this is what I'm getting from this card, is understanding, like, even in the darkness, that's where you'll find your peace. Okay? So even if things feel hard right now, is if you look at it objectively and from a different perspective, there is gold there. But yeah, you're in a space of fear, because the next card is fear. So Sagittarius, emotional time, very emotional time. Now you're letting your fears be your beliefs. So you're believing what you're thinking, and you're believing what you're feeling. I really feel like that needs to be something that you step away from. And I'm not usually big on this. I'm usually like, trust your feelings, trust your intuition, but I don't feel like you're in a space of intuition right now. You're in a space of literally fear. I said the word headless chicken, and I can sense that energy. It just feels restless. And you may not, Sagittarius, you may be watching this and being thinking, you know, I'm not that bad. But it's just, are you living really in your truth? Are you living in a space where you're just making decisions from a place of, I have a discomfort. I want to say discomfort. I'm going to say, like, I was going to say, like, from comfort, and, you know, you're in that spot, but you don't feel comfy to me. So be aware that this is preventing you from what you want and where you want to be. So I do feel like you need to look at, this is the self-reflection side of things coming into play here. It's just look at how you are living, what you're putting out there, or what you're not putting out there. Maybe you're too scared to put it out there. And remember, living in your authentic space and living truthfully doesn't mean having to be public and be out there and be in the limelight and flashing, this is who I am, this is what I want, this is where I am. Like, you're an everyday person. You don't need to be in a spotlight. You need to be in your own light. You need to be living in your lane, doing the things your way in an authentic way to you. And some people are more softer and sensitive and have different priorities, you know. You're living in your space, and you should never be scared to live in your space. And if you are, you're living in the wrong space, right? This is how I want it to be. And I want you to think of that in a mind sense, in a mental sense. If it's discomfort, it's uncomfortable, you're in the wrong frame of mind. You're in the wrong space, in your physical space. If it's uncomfortable, it doesn't feel safe, you're in the wrong space. How can you change the space? You change these thoughts of can't, won't, don't, not possible, to questions that are productive. What do I want? How do I get there? Is there something I can do right now to change that? When you start asking yourself the questions instead of asking someone else for an opinion, that's when your life will change. You and your loved ones are safe. So again, this is a confirmation that you are in a safe space. You are protected. Your loved ones are protected. You are protected. Everything is going to be okay. And I do feel like that message really needs to be drilled out there right now, is that everything's going to be okay. Believe in the impossible. So again, changing that thought process of thinking you can't, you won't. I want you to take them out of your vocabulary. I'm actually always telling my daughter, who's a Sagittarius, can't is not a word. We're taking it out of the vocab. Because you try. It might not work the first time. Failure is not an ending. It is literally a beginning. It means that there's a new chance to change things up and do things differently. Confidence is key to your success. So again, can, will. Even if it's like slow baby steps, nobody's rushing you. No one's pushing you towards anything. This is your time. This is your space, and you're living it your way. Meditate and contemplate, which means there is definitely no rush into it, and it's time to be just within your own zone and be objective. Look at yourself from a different perspective. But I definitely feel like all of this reading is about being in your own space and just taking the time to nurture yourself. Be kind to yourself. And again, you're in extremes at the moment, so it's going to feel discomfort. So get yourself into a place of comfort. How can we do that? Thank you so much, Sagittarius, for being here. Please subscribe to my channel to be up to date with your weeklies and monthlies. Thank you, guys.